Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. Today I am sharing our October budget closeout. October was an interesting month. There was some personal stuff going on. As you can see here, severance is not usually a line item that I have. So we were affected by job loss in the very end of September, early October. I've been kind of sharing about that a little bit on the channel. I am going to film a dedicated video about it to talk more about it in detail and tell you guys exactly what happened, how I'm feeling, what ended up happening with our situation and all of that, because I think we're finally getting it resolved like within very shortly. So I'm just trying to wait until like everything clears, everything's good, and then I can share more. Just personally, that's what I feel comfortable with, what my husband feels comfortable with. So I'm trying to share as much as I can with as little as I can, if that makes sense. And I know it maybe drives you guys nuts. I'm so sorry. I just want to be able to film like a sit down video with you and like share my thoughts fully from like beginning to end. So all that to say, obviously we were affected by job loss this month. So this was not a fun month for us as far as budgeting. However, we did, and I'm very grateful that we have severance. It was a layoff situation, so we did receive severance income. So our income actually really didn't change at all, which I'm super grateful for. Basically just salary continuation through October. So we really weren't affected in this month. But if you guys have been watching my videos that I've been filming through October, we weren't really sure where things were gonna fall in November. So I'm still working through that. If you guys watched my November budget with me, you know that we kind of budgeted basically with no income, and we're just gonna kind of go back and fill it in later, depending on what happens with this new job and like timing and all this stuff. So lots to figure out. It's been a little bit stressful. Well, it has been very stressful. I'm gonna be transparent. It has been very stressful for us, but I think we have finally figured everything out. So very grateful. Anyways, all that to say, a dedicated video will be coming. I'll probably post some sort of like Q&A on my Instagram before I film it, just in case you guys have any like extra questions or anything that you want me to answer in that video. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it for October. So obviously you see here we have the W-2 income / severance. So we did get salary continuation through October. So our income did not actually change, which I'm super grateful for. It gave us time to kind of figure things out and make sure that we didn't feel like we needed to rush into anything or like rush into a job or anything, which I'm very grateful for. And I realized I actually forgot to write side hustle income in here because we did have side hustle income too. I never budget for that, but we did earn $167 in side hustle income for the month of October, which was really helpful. So that brings our total to $7,467 for the month of October. Let's see how we spent that money in October. So lucky for us, this happened during a month where we actually had like a really low budget anyways. Like we didn't have like a lot of extras, like we didn't have car insurance or anything extra that like we would have needed to add. So it's nice that it happened in a month where we don't have a ton of extra expenses. Like last month we had a water bill, we had Disney Plus, we had like a couple other subscriptions. So it's nice that like we did already kind of have a bare bones budget for October. And yeah, it was very helpful to not have to worry about that. And we also had the salary continuation anyway. So it really was fine this month, but yeah. So first line item is our mortgage. So that is $25.27 right now. We do have an escrow shortage that we're paying off right now. So it's a little bit higher than hopefully it will be in the next few months. And that was 33% of our income for the month of October. Next, we have our Peloton bike. So we do have a Peloton bike that we bought back in 2020 now, which is crazy. It was that long ago. And we do pay the $45 fee for that. My husband and I both use it. We both love it. We've been using it since 2020. Again, I can't believe it's been 4 years since we got it. It's crazy. So yeah, $45 for that. That's like basically our gym membership. We use like their strength classes and bike classes and all of that. Electric and gas, we are on budget billing for that, and that is at $196. So that's nice. We don't have to worry about it changing. So I really have been enjoying the budget billing. I wasn't sure how we would like it, but it's nice to just have like a standard amount. Then we have $60 for our internet, and that's obviously a necessity. I work from home a lot of the time. My kids obviously have like Chromebooks and stuff for school now, which is totally crazy to me, but they have their own school that they need to be doing online sometimes. And so obviously internet is just a necessity at this point. Brokerage. And again, I have talked about this a little bit in, I think, a few of my videos that I've been posting recently, like since the job loss situation. But I thought about like cutting everything out and being like, okay, we're going to stop our brokerage. We're going to stop our donation. We're going to stop everything. But I knew that we did have some time. So like I didn't stop it because we did have our regular income this month. And so I chose to just keep going with everything that we were planning on doing this month primarily. We did pull back a little bit on the Roth IRA, which I'll talk about later. But for the most part, we left a majority of the items as they were. I didn't turn off any of my auto pay, like for our donation or giving. I kept those the same. So that's just what felt right for us. Obviously, if you're affected by something like this, that might not feel right to you. But since we knew our income really wasn't changing right away, we felt comfortable just kind of leaving things where they were. Then we have our personal spending. So my husband and I both get $100 each for personal spending every single month. We continued with that again. That was another thing that I was like, should we not give each other personal spending? But like, it didn't feel like it was worth doing that. Like when we knew we wouldn't really be affected by this income loss yet. So we were just like, all right, we're going to keep everything the same. Gas, $2.50. We actually went over in this category, which again is definitely because my husband was going on job interviews. So obviously like he was driving around a lot more than maybe he normally would be because he was, applying and interviewing at a ton of places, and some of them were farther than others. And it was just, like I knew we were probably going to go over as soon as we found out about that, because I knew he was going to be like going to first interviews, second interviews, third interviews, final interviews, like et cetera, like the whole month. So we did go over a little bit, but again, like kind of anticipated that as soon as we found out. Groceries, we budgeted $900. We actually did stay on budget, which I'm super happy. It was easier for us to stay on budget this month because I feel like as soon as we found out about the job loss, we were like, oh shit, like we need to chill. So I feel like I was pretty like just naturally like good on the budget this month because I was like concerned and like just, it's like, it's scary when something like that happens, even if it's not going to affect you immediately. Like it still just puts that thought in your head of like, oh my God, we don't know what we're doing. Like we don't have, like one of us doesn't have a job right now. Like it's scary. So I feel like naturally we kind of pulled back on a lot of the spending. Like we didn't spend as much on food. We didn't spend as much on Amazon. So yeah, I feel like it was just like a natural like pause for us a little bit. Fun and kids, we did still spend money in this category. $83 we spent, so we were under budget in that category too. I think that was mostly like Halloween stuff, and then also my daughter had a birthday party, so we had to buy a gift for that and like those kind of things. Miscellaneous, we budgeted $250, and we actually did go over in this category a little bit. I did buy some things for my husband's new job that he's going to be starting soon. So that was part of why we went over. And that was like way later in the month when we were kind of trying to get things fully figured out. So I did go a little bit over in this category this month. But again, I knew things were kind of hopefully getting settled. And so I wasn't as concerned at that point about like making sure we were saving every penny. And dining out, I am super proud of us because we were technically over budget. We spent $304, but I was like, okay, we are not going over. And like we did go over slightly, but mostly that's like just rounding up because I do round these numbers off. We were pretty much right on budget this month, so I'm super proud of that. Obviously we went, $4 over, but I consider that on budget still for us. Like we always struggle with that category, but like I said, this month we were very mindful of it and very just like cautious and trying to just manage our spending as best we could because of what happened. And just, it was easier, honestly. Like just, I didn't have the drive to go spend money because we were dealing with this situation. So it just naturally came. Sinking funds, again, this is another thing that I was like, okay, do I not do my sinking funds this month? Should we just save that money? But ultimately the money's in savings anyway. So if we needed to pull it, we could. So I was just like, we're just going to keep everything the way that we said we were going to. So we had budgeted $100 for car, $50 for home, $50 for kids, $100 for home, $250 for vacation and $100 for Christmas, and that is exactly what we did. Like I said, this money is in savings right now, so if we needed to, we could absolutely tap into it if we had to. We have an emergency fund. We have all of these sinking funds, so we do have funds that we could pull from if we need to. So I felt really confident in just continuing down this path of doing our regular sinking funds and not really changing things up right now because I just didn't feel like we needed to. Now, where I did pull back was our Roth IRA. So we had planned, obviously, I think closer to like $1,500 putting into our Roth IRA. We actually only sent $1,025. Now, again, I view this differently because I don't want to have to pull out of our Roth IRA. I know I think technically you can pull contributions out of your Roth IRA, but I don't want to do that. I don't have any desire to do that. So we did just want to take a step back a little bit from our financial goals this month in light of what was going on. And we did that. So we did only send $1,025 to our Roth IRA, and we will have a pretty big buffer. So I'll talk a little bit more about that, about what we're going to do with that in a second. But yes, so all of those items that we just talked about our total income, I should say first, is $7,467. The total expenses for everything that we just talked about for the month of October was only $6,699, which means that we have a difference of positive $768. So we absolutely could have put a lot more towards our Roth IRA, but what we're doing with that money is we're holding it. So we're going to hold it in our checking account. I'm going to reevaluate in like mid and the end of November, and we'll decide kind of what we want to do with that based on the job, based on things that are happening, based on the timing. I don't even know, like, my husband has a new job. I don't know when the paychecks are. Like, we don't have a ton of information yet. It's new. So we're still trying to figure those things out. Again, I will talk more about that in the video that I filmed soon, but we're still trying to figure all the timing out and everything. So I just wanted to have a big buffer here to carry us through if we needed to give us a little bit of flexibility in November. So that was our plan from kind of the beginning of October. We knew we were just gonna we're still gonna do something every week for Debt Free Friday, but we're gonna take a little bit of a step back and just have that extra at the end of the month, and we can determine what we wanna do with it. So what we're gonna do is roll it into November. So I never usually do rollover. So I usually am a zero-based budgeter. I usually spend every single penny in the month, or, close. Like, obviously we do sometimes have a difference here. So we do have a buffer in our checking account, but I don't typically leave money in my checking account other than our buffer, which is only a few $100s. So this is different for us. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how that pans out for November, but I did just want to share that with you guys because we intentionally left it that way just so we have the ultimate amount of flexibility in November in case we need it. So that is all I have for the October budget recap. Let me know in the comments down below if you've done your recap yet. I know I'm actually posting this pretty early in the this month because of how the month fell. But yes, it was an interesting month for us. I am looking forward to getting things figured out and back to normal and just having like normalcy back in our lives, because this has definitely thrown us for a loop and it's been a really stressful experience, but we are making it through. I genuinely appreciate you guys so much. You guys have said so many kind words to us, even though you don't know the full situation yet, but like, it's just been so nice to be in this community and have your guys' support during this time. So thank you so much. I will be back here on Friday for Debt Free Friday. Talk to you then. Bye guys.